Klezmer-Trio. Super, dass ihr das für uns macht.
Well, for those new faces, shortly I will introduce myself. My name is Ariel Scharfstein, and I'm Jose Scharfstein grandchild, and we, along with Sergio, we came all the way from Santiago, Chile, in order to honor him. I'm really happy to see that some new faces are joining in our journey. There's a man who definitely left a deep mark in our family. That is our grandfather, brother-in-law, husband, partner, and entrepreneur, Josef Scharfstein. Our dear Josef had an extraordinary life, full of obstacles and challenges that, because of his intelligence, hard work, and resilience, he overcame magnificently. Hear his story. Jose Scharfstein Dickmann was born in 1905 in a small Austro-Hungarian town called back then Gura in the Bukovina region, currently northern Romania. In Gura, which basically was a small shtetl, people from different backgrounds and religions coexisted smoothly. In fact, despite of the small size of the town, several languages were spoken. The Scharfsteins, as well as the rest of the Jewish community there, spoke German, a language that, to be honest, never ceased to be Jose's mother's tongue. And frankly, he never managed to speak Spanish that well, too. Jose had a happy and calm childhood in Gurahomora, surrounded by a big Jewish community, protected by his parents, who apparently were religious and wealthy, until World War I started, and they fled to Vienna, and shortly after here to Graz. Whilst in Graz, jointly with a cousin, he set up a lumber distribution and export business. His hard work and shrewd mind paid off, and he became well-to-do relatively fast and young. At the same time, during those first years here in Graz, Jose lived and worked in, well, apparently he didn't live. He worked in Annestrasse 31, probably a few steps away from Gertrude Lou, who later on will become the love of his life. As you know, one thing led to another, and in 1936, he married Gertrude, Fred's sister. She brought good companionship, positive attitude, and good sense of humor to this serious man, always concerned in building a solid existence in those unstable times. Jose and Gertrude moved to their new house here in Ruckbergstrasse, which is exactly where we are now, and for your knowledge, is the first time that anyone of the family have been here before. As every couple, they must have imagined their life and future in this neighborhood, raising their children and playing with them in the streets and parks, which looks beautiful. However, the history had another plan for them. His only crime was being Jewish. However, this must have been the final warning, showing that the Nazi persecution could only get worse. With the help of Wilhelm Blue, he managed to be released on bail and immediately fled to the hills over to Zagreb, Yugoslavia, together with his wife Gertrude, disguised as lumberjack through different forest trails. In Zagreb, they somehow obtained passport without the letter J, for Jewish, which allowed them to travel freely to London. Upon passing the Italian border, a suspicious fascist guard asked him, "Are you Jew?" Jose said, "Yes, but if you send me back to Austria, it will be our death." Somehow, the Italian guard had pity and asked, "You swear never ever to return?" Upon his promise, he let them through, and finally they make it to London. The couple stayed in London and expected their Australia visa, but we are still waiting for that. By chance, he heard that Ecuador was granting visas. So, after going to the library and find the location of Ecuador in a map, they decided to emigrate there.
Once in Ecuador, their shock was huge. When coming ashore in a small boat, they saw a port with houses on stilts, reminding them of their Austrian uprising. With tears in their eyes, what would they do there? Josef's resilience was stronger. They settled in Guayaquil, and finally, the postponed first child, Dennis, Ariel's father, was born there. Postponed because Joseph's apprehension believed the Nazis would conquer the world. Why create more lives? Hitler already had entered Paris. However, now is when Jose shown his generosity and devotion to family. With a newborn child, Jose did not stop working until he brought over all of his family. How? By traveling all over South America selling watches. He managed to gather enough funds to first save in 1940 his brother Moritz, and then a few years later, in 1945, Olga, and afterward came Alfred, his mothers and sister who had survived the horrors of the Transnistria camps. Finally, after a few years living in the tropical Ecuadorian climate, they moved to Chile, where they lived until the end of their lives. There, their second daughter, Daniela, my mother, was born. At the same time, Joseph's resilience allowed him to start a new business in which he was very loved by his employees and of which he was very proud.
Josef did not just save the Scharfstein family from the Nazi horrors, but he also kept the family together and gathered it in the safety of Chile. Despite all that, Jose never forgot his origins. Just like Gertrude, he lived like an Austrian in the midst of Santiago. This led him for a long time to struggle against the bureaucracy in order to obtain an Austrian passport, which he later used often to travel to Europe. But as said, he never returned to Graz. As we said, Jose was born in a religious home. Today, with kindness, I remember how each year and after year he would find his little talit, which was very little, and use it for Yom Kippur, a date in which he fasted until he was very old. He also never forgot making tzedakah to the different Jewish organizations and persons in Chile who need it. Jose Scharfstein passed away in the year 2000 at the age of 93. A few hours before, he would have had to get up to start a new day in work at his beloved Geschäft. He died warm next to Gertrude, covered by an Austrian duvet. Well, thank you all for listening us. Part of the family live in Santiago, Chile, others in Ecuador, New York, and even Israel. This stone or stein really provides the idea that the family is again welcome and that the city is receiving us with the arm's length. And our only expectation is that something like this obviously never happen again. It's our responsibility to remain that, to refresh that to our kids and and somehow I expect you, the people that are joining us, how much suffering, and even though you can see that we are here happily and have happy lives in Santiago, the anguish and the pain doesn't disappear. However, it's so nice to know that now people passing by the street, as long as Strasse, they will stop by and will recall that our family and our grandparents and grandparents live happy here and that they are welcome again. Thank you. who are not from the family and are not Jewish, what we do now is it's to say the prayer that the religious provide when someone's dying. And the important thing about this prayer is that it tries to bring the soul of that people like to heaven, so that the person can rest in peace. And let me tell you, in our case, and I guess that everyone here agree, Jose was a very, very hard worker guy. He worked hard his entire life, and I'm glad that he's now resting, and I guess that we are glad now that he's also resting here in Austria, in Graz. Itgadal Vitkadash Shemer Rabah. Belma Divira Hirute Beyamlik Marhute. Beyameh Urge Viraje Meshuje. Amen. No, esto no. We have the whole Beit Israel, Bagalau, Isban Karib, Imbru. Amen. Yesh Me Rabah Meorak Lala Mel Maya. Itbarach, Bishtabach, Bipoar, Bitromal, Bitnase, Bitadar, Bitalel, Bitalal, Shmet, Kudesha, Brihu. Leal, Milkol, Bilkata, Beshirata, Tush, Bechata, Benecheta, Damiram, Galma, Bimbru. Amen.